So, wish you all a very pleasant evening. I'm Sham Kumar, and today we'll just see the Indian scenario of aquaculture, its the present condition and the future prospects. So, first of all, I would like to say you to all you that among the world fishery production of about 179 million tons, India is contributing about 7% in the total production. That is, we are having a very large chunk of production in the global scenario. We are on the second number in the case of aquaculture and third in the case of total fish production. And in the first rank, China is there with about 65 million tons of production. And India is having about 16.24 million tons, in which the marine fishes comprise about 4.1 million tons and 12.12 million tons is by the aquaculture in India. This fishery production contribute about 1.5% to the global India's GDP and about 6.1% in the agricultural GDP. But if you see the case of ornamental fish farming or in India, it's very meager or very low. We are having a large amount of water bodies, but still we are lagging far behind the main countries like Singapore and others in case of ornamental fish farming. We only contribute about 1% of total ornamental fish trade. That is the can say very not good for us. So if you see the case that in which state there is high inland fishes, so you can see here in the case of Andhra Pradesh, it is having the highest production of inland fishes. That in the case of the ponds, lakes, rivers, and while in the case of marine fishes, Gujarat dominates a lot, and other coastal states like Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, they also contribute a lot in case of marine fisheries. So just I would like to show you some of the summaries of Indian fisheries. Like uh, we are having about 16.2 million tons production at the total, in which 4.12 million ton is from the marine sector, while 12.12 million ton is from inland sources. And we export about 13 lakhs kilos of marine fishes and other freshwater fishes outside India, and we earn about 2.32 lakh crores of rupees. And these fishery sectors contribute about 1% in the case of GDP of India and 6.72 in case of the agricultural sector's GDP to India. The per capita consumption of fishes is about 6.31, while it may vary in the case of some coastline areas or some landlocked state. We are having about 1,500 landing centers, and which contribute about, in the case of fishes, uh, 8% contribution we wish to make to world, and this fishery sector is the rising at the rate of 10.3% per annum. So earlier we used to have only capture fisheries, but the last one decade we will see this culture fisheries has gone very high. So earlier we are having only mostly dependent upon the marine fisheries. Now we are having the aquaculture production of about 12 million tons. So this you can see here that how we are can say from financial year 2011 to 2023, how much we have increased our exports in case of fisheries. This you can see we mostly used to export our fishes to United States, China, Japan, Thailand, others. And in the case and last year, you can see here that
Sorry, sir.
yes,
Sorry
tell
for
me,
interrupting. Your slides are not moving, sir.
sites are not visible.
Now it is moving, sir. That time it was on the first slide only.
Okay,
You can continue, sir.
is it moving and now?
Yes, sir.
So this year, as you can see here, uh, that in last year, the export value from aquaculture and the export value from capture fishes is about same. But if you, but in the next year, you will see that this capture fishes will be lower than the aquaculture, because in aquaculture the production per unit area is very high, and it will surpass the capture fisheries by next year. If you look at the Indian fishery diversity, about uh, 25,000 species is over world, and we are having only about 11% of them in the Indian waters. Among that, about 73 species is from cool waters, around 550 is in the warm waters. Warm water is naturally a water which have a temperature of about more than 10 degrees Celsius to about 25 degrees Celsius. That will be called as warm water. This brackish water, that is the main water which is found near the estuarine region, that is on the mouth of sea where the rivers meet. And we are having about 1,500 species of marine fishes, and among that, 450 families of freshwater are there, and in which 25 of them are commercially important in the case of fresh waters. So far as the Indian fishery is concerned, we are having a very huge aquatic potential. We are having about 8,129 kilometers of coastline, and that is very vast. In this 8,000 kilometers, around 1,600 kilometers is in Gujarat. We are having the EEZ, that is exclusive economic zone, about 2.02 million square kilometer. This EEZ is basically a place that is about 200 kilometers from the coastline. So in that EEZ zone, we have the whole rights to do anything like catching fish, to search for oils and other things. Anything that comes under EEZ of a country is under the control of that country. So we are having a very high area of EEZ. From that, we used to catch about 4 million tons of fishes per year. We are also having the rivers of length about 29,000 kilometers. We are having major river system like Ganga river system, Brahmaputra river system, Namda river system, Kaveri river system, and a lot. And next we are having the reservoirs. That is called sleeping giants, because we are having 3.15 million hectares of reservoirs, and it's too high. But it's very sad to know that India's average production in the reservoir is about 20 kilograms per hectare. That is very low. If you will see in the China, they are having about more than 500 to 1,000 kilograms of fish per hectare in the case of reservoir, but we are having only 20 kilograms of fish uh, per hectare. This average may vary in the case of large, medium, or small reservoirs. We are also having the backwater and lagoon of about 1 million hectares, a floodplain wetlands. In the case of India, Assam contribute about 50% areas of wetlands. And that wetlands are very useful for the fish production, because they are the nursery breeding ground for large number of fishes. And these wetlands can be utilized for the nursery and breeding grounds of lots of fishes. They're
Sir,
also
sorry to
having
interrupt.
about
Hello.
2.41 million hectares and canals of about 0.12 million kilometers.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. Your slide is not moving again.
Is it coming now?
Yeah, now it's fine.
There's something issue inside this. So in this slide, you can see how much marine fishery resource and inland fishery resource we Indians have. So as I've said you about the coastal land is at continental shelf, a number of fish landing centers. So you will be very surprised to know that we are having about 40 million people directly or indirectly engaged inside these fishery sectors. So inside this uh, freshwater resources, we are having about 85% contribution from the case of major carps. These major carps are mainly from Katla, Rohu, Mrigals, and some exotic carps like grass carp, Chinese carps, silver carps, common carps, and these minor carps like Puntius and other species, they contribute about 5 to 10%. And others are like mussels, snakehead, catfishes like pangasius, tilapia, and others. And so far, this consumption of, you can see the slides of fish consumption. Is it visible to you, the fish consumption slide,
Yes,
to all of
sir.
you?
Yes, sir.
So those about in India, we are having about 9 kilograms of fish consumption per person per year. That is very low. If you'll see outside India, like China or Japan, it may go up to 30 to 40 kg of fishes per people per year. This 9.1 kilogram of per capita fish consumption in India, it also varies in different states. Like if you go to West Bengal, Assam, Tripura, and other coastline areas, it is higher. But if you go to northern areas like Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, and Kashmir, and other Uttarakhand or Delhi, it is slightly low, about 7 kilograms of fishes per person per year. So you can see here in the case of eastern and northeastern areas, the consumption is quite high as compared to the northern areas. The major fish producing state in India in the case of fresh water is Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Gujarat, Kerala, and others. The Andhra Pradesh is the leading state contributing about significantly to the freshwater fish production, while the Gujarat is leading state in the case of marine fish capture and shrimp production. Gujarat produces about 30,000 tons of shrimp per year in the case of Vanami and in Pinus Monodon. And we used to mainly export to Vietnam, Indonesia, and other countries. So there is something unique to each and every state of India in case of fish production. For example, Tamil Nadu produces about 6.82 lakhs kilograms of fish per year, and it is very famous for its freshwater species like rohu, snakeheads, katla, and tilapia. While the West Bengal is very famous for the fishes like hilsa, and it is very costly fishes hilsa. It costs about 1,200 to 2,000 rupees per kg, and it's having a quite religious values as well. The Andhra Pradesh has the highest demand uh, in the case of fishes like pulsa fish and other snakeheads. The Kerala is having a very good, you can say, fish resource in the case of in the form of backwaters or marine waters. Here you can see the total landing centers of India. We are having about 1,500 landing centers across the Indian coastal lines, and here you can see the gender in fisheries. You will be very surprised to know that women are marginalized in the case of gender of fisheries. Mostly, it is being dominated by the men. Women are mostly working in the case of post-harvest technology and fish processing, while in the case of capture or culture, mainly it is dominated by the male populations. About 83% in the case of marine fishes, it is mainly dominated by the male, while in the case of inland fishes, it is about 81%, and so on. So in India, each and every state have their own state fishes. For example, the national fish of India is Gangetic dolphin. In the case of Andaman Nicobar, it's dugong, that is called sea cow. In the case of Andhra Pradesh, it is mussels or naked, you can say. For UP, it's the cheetal fish. It is having a very high value, about 700 rupees per kg of fishes. Uttarakhand, it's tor masi fish. West Bengal, it's hilsa. And it's so on for Gujarat, like it is a croaker fish. Haryana, it's kalbashu. And for Odisha, it's tor fishes. For Nagaland, it's chocolate masi. And so on. You can see here the state fishes of India. So this is about the current status. So, but now we need to focus on the present status, that how we can increase the production in the sustainable manner. So for the future prospects and opportunities, uh, we need to focus on the some of the decent techniques in which we can have a very high fish yield in small amount of areas. Some technologies like biofloc technology, RAS, IMTA, cage culture, and ornamental fishes. These are having the very high prospect in the case of future in terms of fish production. And apart from that, we also need to focus on the uh, water quality, disease management, farm management, some use of sensors, satellite system, GIS system in fisheries. So first of all, I would like to tell you about the biofloc system. This biofloc system is a very decent system in which we used to filter the water by the means of bacteria. You will be very surprised to know that whatever feed we used to give to fish, in that about 70% of fishes uh, feed 70% of feed is not utilized by fish. Either it is used by fish, and it's and about and you can say majority of feed is either not utilized by fish, or it come in the form of fish waste and others. So that fish waste also used to deteriorate the water quality. So in this technology of biofloc, what we used to do, we used to convert this excess fecal matter or unused feed in the form of protein. So basically, what we used to do, we used to increase the number of bacteria by feeding them on the fecal matter. As you all know, that in feed we are having a protein, and this protein only used to contribute the fish masses. For example, if you see the formula, basic formula of protein, it mostly contains of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. In in the case of feed, if it goes unused, this all the unused feed will increase the ammonia in water, and this ammonia are very lethal for the fish species. So it may lead to the death of fishes. So what we used to do in biofloc, we used to feed these bacteria on this ammonia on the unutilized feed with the addition of some of the additional carbon source. Suppose in the case of protein, uh, as I've said, it comprised of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and hydrogen, while the ammonia is having nitrogen and hydrogen. So we used to additionally add these carbon sources, and by utilizing these carbon sources, this will be utilized by bacteria to grow, and they will increase their numbers. And after that, it will be uh, make a conglomerate, or you can say a flock-like structure, like aggregation of this bacteria along with the fecal matter, some unutilized feed, and everything, and that will be utilized by the fish. So in biofloc technology, what we really do is to add the carbon sources to the water body, and that carbon sources along with the unused feed, or you can say the excess of ammonia, is utilized by the bacteria, and they used to grow. And that is a purely, you can say, the organic form. In this biotech technology, since the fisher is going inside the bacterial system, there is a very less chances of disease outbreak, and whatever feed we are giving, it is utilized by the fishes, and the waste created by fish is also utilized by the fishes. So in that case, we can reduce the feed amount and increase the fish survival. And next one is this uh, RAS, that is the recirculatory water aquaculture. Whatever, see, in fishes, the main problem is that this is the maintenance of water quality. In the case of biofloc, we used to filter this water by the means of bacteria, but while in the case of RAS, we used to filter the water by the means of mechanical means or some machinery. So this biofloc system is very, you can say, cheap. But in the case of RAS, this system is quite expensive because we used to add machineries like mechanical filtration, chemical filtration, biological filtration, and apart from that, the oxygen generator. As you can see, this rearing water, the fish rearing tank, uh, when its water will be filtered by the means of physical, chemical, and biological filter. And after that, the addition of oxygen will be there, and then UV filtration. And after that, it will be water will be again used in this the fish rearing tank. So whatever in bioflok we used to do by the means of bacteria, the same thing we will do by the means of uh, machines. So it's quite expensive. And next one is the IMTA, that is the integrated polytropic aquaculture. That in the case of IMTA, this fish culture is on the different trophic level. For example, whatever feed we used to give to fish, and this feed matter will be ultimately utilized by some of the invertebrates like mussels, clams, oysters, because these are the filter feeders. So in the case of IMTA, whatever unutilized feed is there, it will be utilized by some of the inorganic waste by seaweeds or some invertebrates, and and we can grow all these vertebrates, fishes, and others in one system. Next one is aquaponics. This aquaponics is basically the hybrid system of hydroponics. In hydroponic system, what we used to do, we used to grow the plant without soil in soilless media, or you can say in the water system. In the case of aquaponics, what we used to do, we used to utilize the feed fish waste to grow the plants. In the aquaponics system, we used to put the fishes inside tanks, and we used to feed the fish. Whatever fecal matter inside the tank, it will be, you can say, will be given to the plants, and this plant can grow. So this aquaponic system is basically grow to uh, to mainly grow the leafy vegetables like spinach, tomato, and other things. So this is a very high techniques where you can have the plants, vegetables, and fish in one system. Next one is that the cage culture. As I have said earlier, that in the case of reservoir, we are having about 3 million hectares of water area in case of reservoir, and the productivity in reservoir is very low. It is about 20 kg of fishes per hectare. In this, while we'll see in the case of pond culture, we are having 2000 kilograms of fishes per hectare in case of tanks, you can say ponds. But in the case of reservoir, it's only about 20 kg. It's very less. So now we are doing the cage culture inside reservoirs, where we can have very high density of fish, and we can yield about 25 kg of fish per cubic meters. That is about 25 tons of fishes can be done in 1 hectares of reservoir area by the means of cage cultures. And then this ornamental fish farming, although we are lagging far behind like Singapore and Japan in the case of ornamental fish farming, but this ornamental fish farming has a very huge scope. Some of the freshwater fishes like goldfish, gourami, eels, snakehead, oscar, platy, swordtail, and some of the marine ornamental fishes like gobies, lionfish, clownfish, damselfishes. These are having a very high scope. These small fishes are worth more than 1,000 rupees per piece in case of marine fishes, while it's having about 50 to 100 rupees of uh, per pieces of this freshwater ornamental fishes. So if anyone wants to do the business in case of ornamental fish farming, it's very useful and highly profitable. Next, I would like to tell you about there is a very huge scopes of remote sensing in aquaculture, because if you want to yield higher, you need to use the sensors and some means to get the real-time data. For example, in the case of shrimp farming, we used to have the sensors for temperature, pH, alkalinity, ammonia, dissolved oxygen. And if you have the data of these all these parameters, you can easily maintain the water quality, and you can prevent the disease outbreak, and you can also have a high yield in the case of fish production. Next one is that the use of GIS. GIS use is very highly used in the case of marine fishes. For example, uh, the fishermen used to go inside ocean to catch fish, but every time they used to go to ocean, they cannot find the fish, and they have to come back with a low amount of fishes. But by the means of GIS, we can tag the location that last time when they have gone sea to catch fishes, where they have catch fishes. So by having this location in GIS, every time the fisherman can go to that place where they are having fishes, and in that way they can reduce the uh, you can risk. They can also reduce the oil that will be used inside a ship or some vessels to catch the fishes. And then some of these, and then we are having some challenges in the case of fishery sector. The main challenge is that land. Yeah, the farmers are not getting appropriate land, so this is one of the major concerns in the fishery sector. The water quality issues, because most of the tanks or pond you can see, they are mostly excavating pond. In that, you cannot just pull out the water without any motor or pumps. So every time when you have to excavate, you have to pull out the water. You need to pump this water outside, and then some of the farmers are using hormones or antibiotics or chemical fertilizers that is causing harm in the case of fishery sector, and due to this there is a reduction in the yield of fishes. Main concern of food security is that post-harvest failure, there is some disease outbreak or some other issues. Because of that, there is a low yield, and some of the low yield field they are using for rice production. There is some also issues of social impact, economic impact. There is some issue of gender issues in the case of fisheries. And some of the things that we need to do to reform the Indian fisheries is to train and make the capacity building program to the marginal and small farmers. Because even today, the farmers are not well trained. They don't have the we can say, scientific ponds or scientific water tanks or any system to grow the fishes. So the farmers need to get trained. Uh, they also need to get awareness. We also need to have some extension services to aware the farmers. We need to have a good research that can solve the ground stage issues. We need to have the modern infrastructure like a good hatchery, because still today we are having lack of fish feed. We used to import the fish feed from outside. We are not having the good quality feed mills, because feed contribute about 60% of the total cost of any fish culture. So if you have a very good feed or very nutritive feed, then only you can increase the yield. And apart from that, there is a need to collaborate between the research institute, government, and private sectors. We need to control the pollution, overstaction of water. We need to purify the water. We need not to use the pure water that will be used for drinking and other purposes. We need to emphasize on the sustainable farming, like integration of fish farming along with horticulture and animal husbandry. We need to equal level these products that we get, that will help to enhance the market. Because in the case of equal labeling, we need to label that where from this where the fish or any aquatic product have been grown, how there is a market chain and value chain. And we need to have a high biosecurity so that we can reduce the
Hello.
disease outbreak and have a high yield. Thank you. If you have any question, please let me know. Please ask your question.